This is the 5th time I've pressed the record button on my phone to film this video. It's just not happening today. I'm gonna apologise on the offset because, like, my words are failing me today. Nothing sounds good. I don't know what I'm talking about. My brain is not functioning, so I'm sorry. We're just gonna have to push through. I'm trying to film this today because my boyfriend's staying over here this week and I'm too awkward to film in front of him. And he's gone right now, so I'm trying to film before he gets back, and obviously it's just not happening, so I'm sorry. But, you know, we'll just have to see what happens. So today I'm reviewing Magonia by Maria Davana Headley. Now, I know, like, 2 days ago this was in my June TBR. I've already finished it, which I'm super excited about. It was so quick. I almost finished it last night. I was reading it yesterday and I was like, oh, I'll get this finished tonight, finish one book on my, you know, my TBR for the month on the first day, but I got to the last 50-60 pages and I was like, I need to go to my bed, I'm tired, and it was only like 11 o'clock. So I finished it this morning and oh my gosh, it was so good. Like, I can't. So I said I was going to review Dorothy Must Die today and do Magonia on, I think I said Saturday, but I thought that Magonia was published on Sunday and it's not, it's published on Thursday, you know, tomorrow. I wanted to get my review of this up before it was published, just because. To start off with, HarperCollins did send me this. I'm so thankful they did because I absolutely loved it. Well, there's one, I think I've said this before, there's one fault I have with it, and it's that it's too tall so it doesn't fit on my bookshelf. However, it's a gorgeous book, so I both cover and story, so I'll forgive them. Oh, it had me sobbing. Like, it was... I cried, well, I sobbed once and I had a sort of internal cry. Like, I didn't actually have a tear forming, but I did at one point. Internally I was. The ending was when I had my sort of crying on the inside, but, you know, okay on the outside thing, because it was happy. Like, inside I was like, oh, you know, it's so sweet. I don't even know if sweet's the right word, but, you know, it was just a really nice sort of happy kind of ending. But there was a point, like, I hadn't even been reading for like half an hour. Page 71, I warn you, when you pick this book up, because I think you all should, it's so good. Be warned, page 71 had tears just streaming down my face. Oh, I haven't cried that hard at a book since The Fault in Our Stars. Like I've said to you before, I cried at All the Bright Places, but it was just like a couple tears. I sobbed at The Fault in Our Stars and I sobbed at this. That moment in the book was just heartbreaking for me. The book is about a girl. Now her name... it's AZA. Now I was saying Aza, so her name's Aza Ray Boyle. I don't know, Aza or Aza. I think it's Aza, but I sort of switched between saying Aza and Aza just because I wasn't sure. And my brain was like, I think it's Aza, but I'd already called her Aza, so my brain was like, it's Aza, and then I was like, no, it's definitely Aza. Yeah, Aza basically has a mysterious lung condition. So she struggles to breathe, she coughs a lot and things. Nobody else has a condition like this, so it ends up being named after her, being called the Aza Ray or Aza Ray syndrome. She was told that when she was young she wouldn't live to see like her 5th birthday, then it was her 10th birthday, then it was her 16th birthday. 5 days before her 16th birthday, she's lost to this world, and then she ends up in Magonia, which is like a bunch, like, I don't really know, I can't really describe what Magonia is. It's kind of like another world, but like in the Earth's atmosphere, but like in the sky. And it's full of ships and things. Before Aza dies, she sees a ship in the sky and everyone's like, oh, it's, you know, it's your medication, you're hallucinating. And the only person that believes her is her friend Jason, who she actually ends up having a bit of a thing for. And what I like actually about the whole thing with Jason and Aza is it's a very minor part of the novel. Like, it is there, it's very clear they have feelings for each other and they're going to be together. But it isn't the defining thing about the book. You know, the book is about Aza, her illness, and her being in Magonia. It isn't about Jason and her being in love, you know? That's one of the things I loved about it, because I'm as much as I love a good old contemporary novel, boy-girl falling in love, it's kind of overdone, let's be honest. Everybody does it. And I know, like, I don't know, just, it wasn't so forced on that was the point of the book, you know? Like, that wasn't the point of the book, what was I say? See what I mean? I don't know what I'm talking about. Basically, Aza has to help the Magonians, if that's what they're called. She basically has to help them stop a war between Magonia and Earth. And it's quite well done. You don't actually know, like, who's the good guy, who's the bad guy sort of thing. But it was funny because literally like 3 pages before my heart being broken into pieces and causing me to like dehydrate myself with lack of like fluid in my body because of how much I cried, I was sitting there reading the book quite happy, and then like beforehand I was just like, okay, like there's a proper what the fuck moment. It was just really weird. Before she's lost and taken to Magonia, a bunch of birds turn up at her, like her bedroom, like in her garden, at our bedroom window and stuff, which I was like, okay, that's weird. Like there was European robins, you know, there was a bunch of different breeds of birds, like owls, robins, eagles, falcons, you know, stuff like that, that just birds that weren't even meant to be around at the time are in our back garden. And I was sitting there like, that's really, really weird, you know, what's going on. Then something even weirder happens. And then it kind of makes sense why that happened later on. But that was like the weirdest thing in the novel I found. Like, it was one of those moments I actually kind of had to put the book down for a minute or two. I was like, right, what is happening here? It is honestly, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I don't know what's classing as a spoiler is my problem. I just found it so, what's the word I'm looking for? Enthralling? Intriguing? Yeah, I think I go with intriguing. Like, I was reading it and obviously that moment, the sort of what the fuck moment with the bird, I was like, what the hell? But it made me kind of want to read more and see what was going on. And it all makes sense, like the things that happened, it all sort of ties in. There's sometimes you read a book and they'll mention something and you sort of go, that's kind of unnecessary, they didn't really need to add that in. But everything in the book felt necessary. Like there's a phrase that everybody in Magonia uses, which is by the breath. But apparently the way they say breath is like in a very scared way. And then, you know, you find out who the breath are, and while they're not actually a major part, you know, they're kind of integral to the story. And also things like there's a ghost of a bird that they can hear screaming and stuff and singing and all this. And at the time I was reading it going, is this bird important? And in the end it sort of is. I mean, everything is, and that's, I can't really pinpoint anything that was written or mentioned that just was put there for no reason. Everything was relevant and everything tied in together, and it just felt complete. And I don't know if this is making any sense to anyone here, but you know, I felt like everything that was said had a purpose. And although, like, I mean, the novel definitely could have went further, like in the end, like she could have kept it going and said more or done like a sort of epilogue that says what happens after and things. Because like the way it ends, I don't want to give anything away, but it's kind of clear that there might be a bit of trouble in the future and things. But you know, it isn't, you know, there's no sort of, there's nothing done that goes, there we go, nothing's going to happen. And equally, it's not just cut off, it ends in a very nice way. And, you know, I think there possibly could be room for a sequel, but I quite like it just on its own. It's so hard to explain without, you know, being like major spoiler. Like, the epitome of this book isn't what happens at the end and kind of leaves, it doesn't leave you on a cliffhanger, but like as I said, something could go wrong in the future. They don't know what's going to happen, blah blah blah. But that really doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the story, because the rest of the story is about Isa in Magonia and like her stopping the war against Earth in Magonia. I feel like I'm talking a lot of shite and I feel like I'm not doing this book justice, but it's because my brain is just gone and my words have gone. I know, I'm sorry. It's fantasy but without being like right in there, like in your face with all this weird stuff going on and random words and objects and things that you're like, what the hell? Like, there's a couple random words, but it's nothing overpowering, and it still feels like, this makes it stupid, but it still feels very realistic. Like, I've read a couple fantasy novels and I've just been like, that's never gonna happen, and you know, it's just completely far-fetched. But just the way this book is written, like the way it's done, I didn't feel like I was too far out my depth, because I am just sort of starting to dip my toes back into reading fantasy novels, and I found that like I'm reading A Darker Shade of Magic, and that is a lot more fantasy than this is. So my brain's kind of like, oh, okay, you know, I've been stuck living in like modern day world with a boy and a girl falling in love and dying and things like that, so I need to kind of tread carefully just now while I get into other things. If you're not sure if you're into fantasy, I definitely recommend you pick this up. If you are into fantasy, I recommend you pick this up. If you like reading good books, pick it up. The way that Maria actually writes some of it as well is quite interesting. Like things like this, like she writes it in a box. Things like writing down that way, she'll write in zigzags. There's a point as well, like there's some things where she'll write that it'll be scored out, but that's kind of relevant to something she mentions as the character earlier on and stuff. I really enjoyed the way the writing was. I honestly loved this book. There was just something about it, it was really refreshing, it was different, and I don't know, that's maybe just because I don't read many novels like this. Because it was just written really nice, it wasn't, I don't know. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm letting people down, like I feel like I don't give authors justice when I try and review their books. What I can promise you is if you pick this up, you will probably love it. I can't imagine, I mean, okay, it won't be everyone's cup of tea, but there's just something about it. Just pick it up, please. Like, I honestly give it 5 stars. I can't really tell you, like, if you like this, then you'll like this. It's really interesting, it's definitely worth a read, and it is going to be huge, I think. So, yeah, I'm gonna go because I'm rambling a lot of crap. So, Magonia by Maria Davana Headley, 5 stars. I'm probably never going to use star ratings again because I'm really bad for just being like, hey, 5 stars, 5 stars. Like, I don't think I've ever given a book less than 3, and 3 to me, it doesn't mean it's bad, it just means it's got 3 stars. I don't know. So yeah, 5 stars, whatever you want to say. Amazing, I loved it. 10 out of 10, would recommend. Like, I've actually got Courtney, I can go and see a call at work. I'm actually like planning on giving this to Courtney for a loan off, just because we both spend too much money on books, and I know she'd like to read it. I feel like she'd love this. So Courtney, if you watch this, because you will be, this will be coming your way at some point, unless you happen to buy it. We'll see what happens. So yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm putting the book down. I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna read a book. Well, not a whole book, but I'm gonna read some of a book, and then I'm gonna have dinner. I don't know why I'm telling you this. I'm gonna shut up. Really sorry if I ramble a lot in this video and don't make much sense. I'm talking a lot of crap, I know. I'll get my head screwed on next time. I'm sorry. Right, like, comment, subscribe, you know the drill. I don't know. If you'd like to, it'd be nice. You don't have to, but please. I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna go. I'm not doing that again. Oh, right, I'm away. So yeah, thank you for watching. Bye. Now to stretch and turn.